Hey everybody, welcome to Hear Us Out. I'm Patrick.
And I'm Paul.
How's it going, my
How's it
brother?
going? It's going mad.
Yeah, we keep saying how's it going now. It's like an in-joke between us. But welcome to this rapid review. We're going to get rapid on you all. What's a rapid review? It is us talking about movies that are either overlooked, forgotten, are now becoming overlooked, that once upon a time weren't forgotten. Essentially stuff that you shouldn't sleep on. They're not the world's greatest movies, but they're also stuff that if you're into movies, they serve a purpose. They're either good for what they were, important of their time, or a good representation of stuff. And what we're doing now is The Craft. That was awesome. I'm not going to ask about what the hand gesture. What was it?
Witchy hands. I don't know.
Witchy hands. Yeah. So long before Harry Potter made wizardry and witchcraft a big popular thing in movies, the 90s had The Craft. Paul,
Yeah.
the 90s. This is the 90s.
Yes, very much so. A quintessential '90s movie that you couldn't have any. You can't mistake it for anything else. Kind of thing of when this was made. Should we go into a quick plot?
Yeah,
synopsis?
go for a quick synopsis then.
The Craft is a movie based, or not based on a book or anything like that, I don't think. But it's a group of girls. So a new girl joins the school called, her name is Sarah. She joins the school as a new kind of student. And she perks the interest of three other kind of outcasty students, which might be into the magic,
The
and
dark
witchcraft
arts.
and Wiccan, and kind of the dark arts kind of subculture that goes on, especially that was going on during the 90s as well. Those three believe that she can be her fourth in their earth, wind, fire, coven.
The 4
Thing.
points of the compass thing. Yeah, it's like you complete our set. We need 4 for our coven, and you're it.
Yeah, which gives them the power to do some which gives extra witchy spells, which power and chaos and everything ensues.
Well,
So
Paul, who knew magic was like Voltron or something? You know, if you can all hook together, then you can do bigger spells. But genuinely, like what you just described is 90s movies. It's a high school thing. New girl comes to school, gets treated not great. Other people are being treated not well. She hooks up with the misfits. If you've seen Mean Girls, you've seen a variation on The Craft without magic. But yeah, it's super 90s, but it's super 90s because of the cast also. This was the same year that Scream came out. If anybody's old enough to remember Party of Five, Nev Campbell was famous on TV. Then Scream made her famous in movies. But this movie came out the same year and was also starring her. But this time starring her as part of a quartet. And I don't think she got the character that was supposed to be the main one. Because there's a goodie and a baddie, and she's in the middle-y, if you know what I mean. Robin Tunney got the goodie, and she had done something else that we did a rapid review on, Encino Man, California Man to us Europeans. So Robin Tunney had, she was on the ascendancy in her career. She was doing stuff. Nev Campbell, was as hot as you get at the time as far as Hollywood properties go. And Fairuza Balk, who was will always be, and we've done a video talking about this, she'll always be the kid that creeped me out in The Wizard of Oz 2 Return to Oz. And it's very, very disturbing because every time I say the name of that film, I get kind of creeped out. But back to The Craft. It's 90s music. It's 90s high school. It's, it's stylized. Even just the way it's shot and edited is as 90s as it gets.
yeah, this very much plugs into the subculture that was on the rise during the 90s as well. So yeah, it's a very kind of like to capture that subculture 90s moment. They really rounded off with as much 90s kind of tropes and kind of things as possible. The high school thing alone is probably one of the biggest tropes of the 90s, or the late 90s, because this was 1996.
Oh, for sure.
Kind of thing. But
for sure.
and then music as well. Some of the popular bands going out as well, so they've got their say in it. But yeah, it's interesting that Nev Campbell is playing the one of the two backbencher characters of the Coven. Even though that year she also did Scream, which exploded, kind of thing. So I definitely understand why this got overshadowed by Scream.
And having said that, overshadowed, but now has a cult following. So some people are watching this video who love it, who love the movie. So welcome. Really glad that you like it, because we also do. Otherwise, we wouldn't be talking about it. But we're not going to spoil it for anybody who hasn't seen it. These rapid reviews are sometimes for people who haven't seen a movie yet. So we're not going to get into super details. Suffice it to say, some of the good things about this movie, other than the fact that it captures the 90s really well, is it's female led, and it's actually females in a position of power at a time when Hollywood wasn't doing that very well, and doing it kind of really badly. Now, don't get me wrong; they have a tricky third act where they kind of make some of the characters make some really stupid choices and be a bit weird, but that makes it, even a 90s movie, that bit more. But each of the four leads, let's call them for the sake of it, they do get a backstory. You get a backstory of racism, of trauma, of class struggle. The new person who's new to the school is, I believe, if I'm remembering it correctly, technically just an orphan at that point. So you got actual rounded characters who then have actual motivation to get together and to dislike others, that motivates some of their bad and generally just really bad decision making in the second act of the movie, where they're flawed. They're not just, this is not one of those 90s pop movies where all the people are cool and they're all really nice and it's awesome. All four of them do crappy things. Just one of them goes a little bit spare, which is an Irishism for going a bit off the deep end.
Yeah. Robin Turney's character. Yeah, I believe she loses her mother, and her father is very absent.
Yes.
Kind of thing. So as you say, each of them face a different struggle, which is really well done. The themes in this film are a lot bigger than first looking at. Like, one of the biggest ones is outcastiness, kind of being the outcast, being kind of like the alt lifestyle kind of thing, and how it is seen by the mainstream kind of culture at the time, and that they're bullies and stuff like that, and they're ridiculed, which does drive them to do some questionable things in their trying to, I guess, control their environments a lot more. But it's great to see those characters, because they, as you said, they are actually nicely well-rounded characters in the sense of their backstory. So, like, Neb Campbell's character has which goes
kind
of thing, which plays a lot into like, because Neb Campbell is, like, at the time, and still is, a very attractive woman, and it's nice to see that kind of change, in the sense of her playing a character who shies away from what she deems as horrible and ugly, kind of thing, and then to have that blossom out within the movie and stuff is great. Robin being the stranger to the crowd, which goes Rachel True, that's Rochelle. There's a subtle, as you said, there's a subtle hint of racism in there that's nicely digs at a kind of unacceptance still within certain places, within the kind of American high school kind of thing. That's a classism thing as well for Nancy Downs, or Friar Spook's character as well. It's such a weirdly good themed movie, because then the main theme, which you're going to come on to, is kind of the overarching theme that comes out to us and stuff.
Yeah, and I like the fact that they set the characters up, they motivate them to do. They're driven together by being outcast by a cruel society. They then become cruel, but they become cruel through the mechanism of gaining power. So it's that power that they get. So there's a nice portrayal of how power can corrupt, and how it will corrupt different people in different ways based on what's motivating them to want that power. And I'm not turning this into, this isn't Orwell, this isn't an amazing movie to the nth degree, but it's really good for the type of movie it is. There's a bit there, as I say, it loses its way a bit, but it never forgets also that it's the high school movie, and once power has corrupted them all and you get through a lot of your story, they don't forget that, hey, these are teens. Revenge and teen bitchiness, it kind of ruins everything. It always does. And in the end, it ruins a lot of things. Again, not spoiling anything, but it ruins a lot of things for these four. So Paul, we're coming up at time. The reason I would say that this is definitely worth our rapid review, and the reason people should see it, is, as you say, it's absolutely dealing with themes in a fun, fast, but not completely flagrant way. And it captures a time really well.
Yeah, couldn't agree more. That's if you're on the tipping end of watching The Craft, which is, I'm hoping that the themes are lofty. The themes are lofty that they take on, and they don't really pull off so much so well, kind of thing. But it's good to see that they do take it on in this 90s quintessential cult classic kind of film. Don't watch the 2020 Legacy Craft or the Blood one as well. Just watch the 1996 Craft one, because this was a seriously made film for the 90s, where the other ones are just trying to recapture a cult classic kind of power.
There you go. Avoid cash-ins, get your original equipment only. Yes, well, Paul, I'm going to give The Craft 2 thumbs up. It should be given a break for its flaws, but it should be remembered for its strengths. And I'm really glad that we've got to put it into this series. So, with that said, we'll see you on the next one of these. I've been Patrick.
And I've been Paul.
And we've been Hear Us Out. Go find your coven, folks. See you.
Oh, comment down below once you watch it and tell us what you think.
Absolutely.
See you later.
Talk to you later. Bye-bye.